Hi everyone, this is Shelby with the OhSheep podcast, take 2. And I say that because I tried to record with the YouTube video webcam capture method and I lost an entire hour's episode earlier today. So that's fun. So I'm not going to try to take any shortcuts. So I'm just going to get right into it. Luckily for you, that means I got to field test some new products so I can give you a more detailed review of them. And let's just hop right into it. We're going to do the makeup segment first. So skip ahead if you want to, or this will be the first part of the video. So I have some new products to review. Number one, I have the Innerstellar palette from Kat Von D, and it is amazing. I love it so much. I got it a few days ago, and I've worn it 3 different times now, and I've covered most of the colors, and I am very, very impressed. I've always liked Kat Von D products, and I love her eyeshadows, and I was really excited when I saw this, and because the colors are really unique. There are purples in here, but there are browns and like bronzes and a nice mix of shimmer and matte and glittery, and you get really nice highlight shades. And so here I'll show you in case you haven't seen it yet. These are the shades you get. It's the same layout as the Chrysalis and Monarch palettes, if you're familiar with those. And I've tried out almost every shade except the silver and the black and this middle highlight shade here. I've tried out all the other ones, and I'm very impressed with the formula and the colors, and it's amazing, and I love it. And hold on just a moment. There we go. I had to fix something on my computer. Sorry about that. And so the colors are really cool named too. Like Gravitron is this beautiful pink highlight shade, and we have here. I'll start reading them off to you so you can see. So we have Gravitron, Vast, and Lichen across the top, and I have across the bottom from here to here we have Nightcrawler, Dios, Lunacy, Astrological, Dark Star, Orion, 3 AM, Moonshine, and Killing Moon. So the names are really awesome. I really like this middle color right here. It's called a Dark Star. It looks purpley in the pan, and it's definitely the most glittery shade in the palette. But it has like bronze and like light blue shimmer to it, and I'm a big fan of bronze. I love copper. It's like my favorite metal, and anything with a bronzy finish is amazing to me. So if you're looking to buy a Kat Von D palette and you're concerned that that's too similar to the Chrysalis palette, which is the cool toned like blues and purple shade companion to Monarch. And I can assure you that the colors are very different, and you probably won't find a color combination like this in any other palette. So I highly recommend it. I did my eye makeup with it today. I refreshed it. It was almost all the way off, but I've been wearing it for several hours. So here's what it looks like. I used, let's see, I used this, here I'll show you. I used this shade right here, Astrological, I used Lunacy, and I used Gravitron and Lichen. So Gravitron and Lichen's over here. The shade Lichen is my favorite highlighter shade in this. It's my favorite highlighter shade I've seen in a while. It's very pale pink. And the other one, Gravitron, which is like a pale pearly white, it doesn't show up as a good highlighter, I don't think, for under your brow bone, but I do use it like inside here to kind of lighten it up down through the inner part of my eye. I haven't tried the middle one, Vast, yet, but I'll let you guys know. So yeah, I'm really impressed. Last episode I talked about the OCC Liptars, and I used the other one that came in my set. It's called Lovecraft. It's this pink metallic color. I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well. I'm not as impressed as I was with the Pretty Boy matte color. This took a lot more product to cover all my lip, and it's just drying. And I mean, I like the metallic finish of it, but by itself I don't think it carries its own. I think it would look really nice if you had like a pink lip liner underneath, or you mixed it with another lip tar, which is probably what the purpose of it is, but I would definitely be careful if you just want like a metallic lip product. It's not as good as the matte, so thought I'd let you guys know that. But, and a new product that I have that I am very impressed with, my Etsy order came in from My Beauty Addiction, and it's an amazing, amazing stuff. I got a good deal on the Cyber Monday. They had 3 lip paints for $9, and the regular price is $14. So it's a very nice deal. I was very excited. And here, let me get them. Hold on a second. I apologize for this, guys. So I got 3 colors. I got Frosted Bronze. Here's the little, here's the bottom. It comes in a little 5-gram jar with a label on top. I got Breathless, which is this one right here. It's a dark navy blue. And then the one I'm wearing right now is called Voodoo, and it is a dark, dark plum. And it might look a little black on my camera because I have poor lighting and whatnot, but it is definitely a plum color. Let me see if I can adjust it so I can get a little closer. So as you can see, sorry, I thought this lighting would be good. Hold on just a moment. Oh goodness, that's worse. Still not coming quite close, but I'm sure you get the idea. I wore it all day. I was a little worried that it would like fade off every time I took a sip or I took a bite of something, and it survived 2 cups of coffee and lunch. So it faded a little bit, but you could it was still there, and it still looked like the color, like just a layer wore off, but the underneath color stayed true. So I was able to last all day. I touched it up right before filming this video because I wanted you guys to see the vibrancy of the color, and it is lightweight. It doesn't feel like a lipstick, like a matte lipstick. It's definitely not sticky. It's not drying. It's just like almost like wearing nothing at all. It has no taste. It doesn't really have any taste or anything like that. And it's a little hydrating, I think, because it's got like jojoba oil in it and beeswax and all natural products, which is what My Beauty Addiction specializes in. They specialize in like all natural, harsh chemical free cosmetics. And so I wore Voodoo today. Love it. I will definitely be wearing it again. And yesterday I wore Frosted Bronze, and it is so pretty. Here, I'll show you. Okay, it definitely looks, it's coppery. It's like it is a metallic color, whereas the Voodoo one, it doesn't have any metallic in it. It has a bit of a reddish shine, I guess, it's showing through in this viewfinder, but it's definitely more true to color in person. Like, it's just kind of flat. But anyway, so this is much better than the metallic lip tar. It wasn't as not pigmented. It wasn't as what's the word? Is it opaque? It wasn't as opaque as this, but I was able to use it all over my lips, and it was a little bit more drying than the one I'm wearing right now, but I think that's just because it's just a side effect of anything metallic on your lips. I think it's going to happen no matter what, unless it's like a lip gloss or something. But yeah, it didn't last as well as this one. It kind of came all off when I took my first sip of coffee. Not all off. Quite a bit of it came off, but I was able to put like a pink lip gloss over top of it, and it made this beautiful bronzy pink color, and I was able to wing it from there. And so I highly recommend the Frosted Bronze color, and I'm sure their other metallics are very similar, and it's definitely worth it. They're like individually like $4.50 or something like that. They're pretty cheap and you get like a 5-gram completely full jar of it, and I imagine this will last me a long time. And I haven't tried the third color I got, Breathless, the dark navy blue yet. It's still, and it comes shrink wrapped, and like it has a label with all the ingredients on it. And it's got, let's see, I can tell you, it's got jojoba oil, beeswax, coconut oil, shea butter, vitamin E, and it's got like, you know, some dyes in it, and like it sounds like food dye, like food grade dye. So it's nothing harmful in here for you. There's no parabens, or I don't think there's even really any preservatives in here, which is cool. I want to buy more makeup like that. And I want to support small scale. Well, they're not really small scale. I think they've had like, they're in the thousands of sales on Etsy, and they have their own website as well. But I will definitely buy more from these guys. I am thoroughly impressed. And I think that the Kat Von D studded lipsticks, which I love the colors of, but they're $20 a pop. And some of them feel drying when you swatch them, so I can only imagine how drying they are on your lips. And they have like a good selection of colors on My Beauty Addiction, not only in lip paint, but they also have lipstick form, and they also have like lip glosses and lip stains, and I think it's a good dupe. I'm sure you could find a similar color if you're looking for like a cheaper way to get bright, bold, good quality lip colors. So I will definitely be buying from them again. So I'd share that with you guys. And then I got a few other things. I got a new, the Multiply Prime Tarte Lash Enhancing Primer. I got it for a mascara primer, and because I was hoping that it would keep my mascara on longer, and it kind of does. It does that, but I think it mostly just makes your eyelashes, like, separates them and makes them a little longer and, like, stand out, more like a false eye effect, false lash effect, which is nice. I'm sure a lot of people like it and prefer that. They want that, but I have glasses, and if you have glasses like me, you have probably come to realize that volumizing mascara is not necessarily your friend, because it can scrape against your lenses and get mascara on your lenses, and that's just a weird sensation of your eyelashes like brushing up against something if they're too voluminous. I haven't had that much of the issue with it, but I can't. I would definitely. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna use it. It's gonna be part of my new routine, I think. But yeah, so it's okay. It's a good product. I don't know if I'd buy it after this. I don't know if I'll ever use it up. It was like $21. Kind of expensive. But I am impressed with Tarte's Lights Camera Lashes mascara, which is what I'm wearing right now. It's a pretty good mascara. I apparently have sensitive eyes for mascara. Other eye products, no problem. But when I first started putting mascara on, I try to keep it to like Maybelline and CoverGirl and like the drugstore brands, because they were cheaper, and everyone talks about how they give you such nice eyelashes and stuff. But the problem was, like, it was making my eyes water horribly no matter which brand I chose. So I have to start. I tried Physicians Formula, which was less irritating, and I think I got a free sample of a Tarte mascara, and it was nice, and I like Tarte, so I've been just using that now, and I probably will continue to use it. And I also bought a knockoff beauty blender. I don't even know what brand. I think it's like Ulta's brand or something, while I was there yesterday, to apply BB cream, and I do like how it applied the BB cream. It was a lot faster than me trying to use my fingertips to like dab it into place. It has pretty good coverage. I like it better than the brush, the BB cream brush I got, the Eco Tools version. It didn't apply it as well as I had hoped. I might keep it just because, but I'll probably use this to apply my BB cream from now on. So, let me think. Is there anything else? I think that's it for the makeup section. So I'll be talking about yarn and crafty stuff like that next. So if you're here for just the makeup and the review, I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Alright, so crafting. Let's see. Oh, what's on my needles? I'll go with that first. So I have, the first project I'm going to show you is one that's hibernating right now because of holiday knitting. And it is my first lace shawl project. And, oh, there go my wrong side, you don't want to see that. This is my lacy bat shawl. And it is so cool. Do you see the little lacy bats? Yeah, I think it's coming out. Okay. So it's my first lace project, well, lace shawl, like real lace project. I've done faux lace before this, and I started it a few months ago, and I look forward to working on it again. It's the pattern. It's called no 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 no, like, you know, the Batman theme song, like the old 60s ones. It's no 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 bat shawl. That's what the name of the pattern is. I have it on my Ravelry page. If you type in Ravelry search, like bat shawl, I'm sure you'll find it. It's a free pattern by Anticraft, I think, is the name of the person who did it, or the like group that published it. And it is so fun. It is a really easy, nice. It's like not too difficult, but like challenging enough that it held my attention. And this didn't take me very long to get this far. And I also learned to use a lifeline when I'm lace knitting, which is this green bit of sock yarn right here, about halfway through bat repeat right here. And it's a lot of fun. I'm using size, I don't remember the size name, but size 4 needles. They're like the smallest interchangeable ones that I have. Because I wanted them to be long enough to like accommodate the length of the shawl. It's going to get significantly bigger than this. So, and the yarn I'm using is Cascades Forest Hills, which is a lace weight mohair silk 50/50 blend. It is black. It's just a plain black solid yarn, and it was like $20 some odd for 800 yard skein. It comes in a huge like donut like this, so I have plenty in here for a shawl. I don't know, I might either keep going until I run out, because this has a lace edging that you can put on there, and I'm not sure. I kind of like just the clean edge, just the straight edge right there. I think it looks kind of nice as it is, so I want to get back to this as soon as possible. I loved making it, and I want to finish it so I can wear it. Okay, moving right along. I also cast on, oh wait here, sorry, everything was kind of thrown around from earlier today. I cast on a pair of socks for myself because what holiday knitting, what holiday knitting that I don't have finished yet. And it's a simple cuff down sock. I've made toe-up socks before, and I thought that I would try a more classic traditional style of sock from like the cuff down with a heel flap, which is what I'm currently working on right now. And it's called the Traffic Island sock. You can look it up on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. It's kind of like a chevron pattern. There's like a column of mirrored decreases down one column, and then the decreases here have lace on either side. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, there you go. You can see my finger through there. And then on the other side, same thing. And if you can see, the columns and stitches make like a nice little chevron. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Oh, it's really dark now. Okay, there you go. Chevron pattern. So this pattern is really, like, the examples are made with self-striping yarn, and it makes the stripes of the yarn go like little chevrons. And the next sock pattern I want to do is, I want to do self-striping socks next. So I thought I'd just practice this and get used to like the construction of it before I like invested in a nice indie dyed Etsy find. I have my eye on some self-striping yarns from Etsy dyers, so I just wanted to practice it because I didn't want to mess it up with really nice yarn. This is just Knit Picks Stroll Fingering in the color Duchess Heather. It's a pretty color, and I like it. It's very soft. It's like an amethysty purple with some light heathering to it. I got 2 balls of it a while ago. It's just been sitting in my stash. It was supposed to be for socks, so I'm just going to knit these pair after I finish the last bit of holiday knitting. So that's on my needles. What else? Oh, some holiday knitting I'll show you. This is just a simple dishcloth that I'm making for my grandma Donna using mitered squares. This is the first time I've ever tried miter squares. I'm just gonna hold it like this, and it's actually pretty fun. It's an easy technique. I can see where it could be addicting, and a lot of people would you could make blankets out of it because it's really easy just to join as you go instead of seaming. And I'm using Cascades Luna. It's an all cotton yarn. It's like $8.95 a hank. It comes in a small hank, but they're so cheap, and it's such a versatile yarn. I've used it in another pattern on my needles for my other grandma. I'll show you in a second, but I just, it's a fun technique. I want to make more like this. I think that this would be fun to do for scraps of worsted weight yarn or sock yarn. Well, I save most of my sock yarn scraps for Hexie Puffs, which I started a couple years ago, and I just have a little stash of them, just hidden away for some day eventual assemblage will occur. I'll show you. I'll probably post a picture or something of the Hexie Puff collection that I have. So that's that, and it's in 2 colors that kind of remind me of the. My grandma lives on the beach in North Carolina, and these just kind of remind me of, like, beachy colors, kind of Key Westy, even though she doesn't live in Key West, she lives in North Carolina. But it's like the colors she would decorate with, I think. I hope. I finished her garter stitch scarf cowl thing, but it felt kind of chintzy because I made my grandpa a lapgan, so she's kind of a jealous person, so I didn't want to cause any issues, so I'm going to finish that tonight and send it out. And, let's see, moving right along. Oh, and the other project I'm doing with Cascades Luna, if I can get it out of the basket, is crocheted. It'll be a shrug eventually for my grandma Sherry, who lives in New Mexico. And here's what I got so far. It's I think it's called the Maui shrug, and what you do is it's worked, back and forth this way, make it kind of like a long rectangle, and then you will fold it over like this and seam it up in like 2 places, and it makes just a shrug. And it's a fun little pattern. It's like 4, 5, 6 row repeat. I think, yeah, it's a 6 row repeat. And it's pretty fun. It's open, it's lacy, it's easy memorization. I stopped it because I was working on another project that I thought would take longer. So this is the last thing that will need to be sent out in terms of holiday crafting. I still have to make my mom's blanket, like the other half of it I showed you last week. I haven't made any progress on it, so I'm not going to show it to you. But that I can do here, and like I don't have to worry about it shipping it out or anything like that. I'm like, here, Mom, I can just go downstairs and give it to her. So that's on my needles and hook. And the next thing I would show you, I have this really cool yarn here. My friend Maddie, she is a senior in high school, and I've been teaching her to knit, and she went to Germany for 2 weeks on an exchange program, a culinary exchange program, and she texted me one night, and she's like, Shelby, I found German yarn shop, and she sent me a picture of the yarn that she bought for herself, and I was like, it's so pretty, can you buy me some and send me, or like bring some back for me? And it was this beautiful, like, it was a thick and thin, light blue, undyed skein, and it was a small skein. I've seen it, and it's really pretty, but I don't know what she can make out of it. She only bought 1 skein of it. She's still learning, so she doesn't know exactly how much yarn to get for, this project or that kind of project. So But I'm sure we'll figure something out for her. But she brought back this for me. Isn't it cute? It's purples, like lavender, dark purpley colors. It's Galleria Home, Cecile Coloring. I almost know it's backwards to you, but I guess she got this in a mall, and apparently the mall had a yarn shop. Why don't our malls have yarn shops? Come on, people, jump on this idea. And apparently it's the mall's brand. I'm sorry, I'm getting attacked by my own hair here. Okay, it's the mall's brand of yarn, and it's which is what I'm assuming Galleria Home means. And it's got like French and German and like random English on here. And I believe it's 90% polyester and 10% mohair. I'm assuming that is what it is because that's what it looks like, and it's probably just the German way of saying it. And I can't read German, but I can read yarn labels. So it's just interesting how it's just a nice little souvenir. I've never had German yarn before. So I will, despite my snobbery, I will make something out of it. It does have some mohair in it. I'll probably make like gloves or a hat or something. It's, so it was really nice that she thought of me while she was over there and thought to bring me back something and make it a gift. So, squish, squish. That is that. And, real quick while I'm still talking about Maddie. Yes, I had a stitch and bitch the other night, and she was supposed to be working, and she came in and was like, "Oh, did you get off of work early?" And she said, "No, I left because they let me off. They let me just it was a slow night, and also apparently her ex-boyfriend's mother came into her place of work before her shift and started threatening her. Like a full-grown woman started threatening her, and these two had broken up like months ago, and they hadn't talked or anything like that. And I mean, she didn't get into the full details, but all the other ladies in our little Stitch and Bitch, it was kind of, I mean, it wasn't funny, but it was kind of warming and like a warm fuzzy feeling that they all instantly turned into lionesses and wanted to like smack this woman around who was like hurting one of their own. And Maddie, she's, besides myself, she's the youngest one who, goes to these Stitch and Bitches or knitting circles or whatever you want to call it. We call it sit and knit. And I could tell it like meant a lot to her that these women were like, what does she look like, or do you need a safe walk to your car? Do you need help? They were like, if we ever saw this woman, if we were there, we would have like stepped right up and told this woman what was what. And I mean, it was really nice to see all these women being like, mama bears almost. and I think it made her feel a little better. I did make sure that she got to her car safely, and her another friend, our friend who is a manager at her place of work now, told this lady to leave and not to come back, which is appropriate because, I mean, this was like a 40-year-old woman threatening a 17-year-old. What is wrong with you people? Like, just no. So hopefully everything is okay. I'll text her tonight because it was all yesterday, and I'll make sure that she's doing okay. But yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you because it was nice that ladies armed with needles we protect our own. But yeah, so that's that. And another bit about knitting that's not necessarily on my needles or anything is that my local LYS that's a little redundant, isn't it? They had a trunk show, and Susan Gibbs, hold on a second. Let me pull up the book. 2 seconds. Alright, yes, here. Susan Gibbs, that's what I thought. She is the founder of Juniper Moon Farm, and she came in and did a trunk show for her new pattern book. And it was kind of cool to meet a local knitting celebrity in person and try on the samples from the book that she did. Like the models wore these samples, and she talked about the importance of gauge because she said that a lot of people are making knitted garments that unflattering for them because they're too big, the garments themselves. And so she said, I'm going to bully you guys into trying on these size X small pattern samples. And everyone's like, I don't know about that. I didn't think I would fit into anything like that. So, being one of the smaller people there, I was like, they like, oh, Shelby, try this on. And and Jeanette was like, as a part-time employee, you must try this on. So, I ended up trying on something a size 0 model fits into, and it fit. I couldn't believe it. Next small, the same thing that a 0 model would wear fit me, and it was, here, I'll show it to you. Hold on a second. There it is. It was this top right here. Here, let me bring it a little closer. So there's like a really pretty little horizontal cable pattern across the top, and this fit me, and I never would have guessed that I probably would have gone for a small if I had done it, and I tried on a few other of the samples from her new pattern book, which is called Modern Country Knits 30 Designs from Juniper Moon Farm. And again, I'm sorry that it's backwards to you, but this gives you an idea of the patterns. And so I have a new perspective on patterns and how to read the sizes, because just from bust measurements, I always think that I'm more than an X small. Like a small usually is what I would aim for, because I feel like you can always adjust the length of a garment. Oh, sorry, excuse me. But like the bust measurement, because there's usually like patterns and there's decreases and increases and things going on there that I don't feel comfortable modifying just yet. But I'm keeping it in mind. Like, gauge has taken a new light for me. So she also signed the book for me, which was really nice. And she talked a lot about the starting Juniper Moon Farm and how she had no experience raising sheep, farming, yarn, no experience. And now she's like a top yarn designer, and she doesn't live on the farm anymore because the popularity of this little farm exploded. So even a lot of the yarn doesn't contain the fiber from the sheep at the farm itself, but it's quality. It's really high quality stuff anyway, and it's a local thing. It's in Virginia or Maryland. I always forget where exactly Juniper Moon Farm is. It's near Charlottesville. There we go. I remember because I asked her because I wanted to see if I could go visit. Just like, I like visiting fiber farms because I like to pet the animals. I like alpacas, especially the really ugly ones, like with the buck teeth, and I get to pet them and feed them, and I'm like, I turn into like a little kid again. I'm like, oh my god, I'm petting an animal. I'm very easily amused. So, yeah, and I really like the patterns in this book. Normally I don't buy a lot of knitting books because I only like one or two patterns, and I don't justify spending $20. But I can easily see myself making 90% of these designs, and the yarn is amazing. Like, Jeanette has some at the store, and it's always been really nice to feel it. And she gave me her email address because she's like, oh, so you work here part-time, do you, and she gave me some tips on being in the yarn industry, so to speak. And she said that she has a friend who has a fiber farm in Frederick, Maryland, and she's always looking for hired help. And I'm like, I will shovel animal crap if it means that I get connections and networking in the yarn industry. I will do anything, essentially. I am familiar with farms. I come from a family of farmers, despite my initial appearance. So, I mean, I wasn't born on a farm or anything like that, but my mom grew up on a dairy farm, and my uncle, he ran a farm and worked on a farm for a long time, and I have family in New York who still live on like farms, have animals and horses and all that stuff. So I'm familiar with the amount of work I would be getting myself into, I suppose. So I will be emailing her for that, and I will get back to you if she responds to me. It was really cool that she gave me her personal email. So, I don't know. It was cool to meet a yarn celebrity, so to speak. And I wanted to talk about her because I got some of the yarn to show you. I got this a few days before she came in. But this is Juniper Moon Finley. I had to give Jeanette the yarn labels because I'm going to be teaching a class with a pattern made from this, so she gets compensated for it and I don't have to pay for it. Free yarn to work with. Awesome stuff, man. And it is this really nice orange color. Like, it's not neon by any chance. It's like a pumpkin color. I would call it pumpkin, and I think it's called pumpkin something or other, or cinnamon or something. But I got 2 skeins of this, and it's 50/50 merino wool silk blend. It's like the Forest Heather Cascade. The Forest Heather Cascade is the knockoff of this, and this is Finley lace. And this is like the #1 Juniper Moon Farm yarn. Like, this is their most popular yarn. And a lot of the patterns in the book that she does in the new book use this lace weight yarn. But I'm going to use it for my next class because I'm teaching a series of Tunisian crochet classes out of this book called The New Tunisian Crochet. It's by Dora O'Hernstein. O'Hernstein. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I've taught one pattern out of here so far, and then before that I taught like a really entry-level Tunisian crochet interlock class, and that was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing Tunisian crochet and teaching it to other people because it has gained some popularity recently, but it's still not as popular as it should be, at least I feel, in my opinion, because it's a really neat cross between knitting and crochet, and I think it benefits, you know, if you want something new, like if you're tired of the same old crochet, if you're tired of the same old knitting, you can do something new. And it's a good introduction to, like, it's a good meeting point between the two crafts, because you have knitters who'll be like, oh, I could never crochet. There are people who crochet like, oh, I could never knit. And yet, if you can do Tunisian crochet, it's very similar to both. So it's kind of like dipping your toes into another craft. So I'm trying to get more people, crocheters and knitters, to take up Tunisian crochet so they can branch out and embrace the other craft. They like, if they do crochet, knitting; if they do knitting, crochet. Because I think that everyone should be obsessed with this stuff. Spread the obsession. More yarn to have, more things to do. It keeps the craft fresh and interesting for you. So the next pattern with that orange Finley lace I want to do is this one that's featured on the cover, which is a lacy, little lacy sweater, like an over sweater. And it's also done in orange on here, so, and I don't want Halloween to be over. It's still Halloween in my head, so I'm going to keep going with orange colors and insisting in my head that it is not almost Christmas and not almost the end of the holiday season. Let me see if I can find a better picture in here of it. I'll show you the picture of the first one that I did for this class. Oh, where'd it go? I'm sorry, guys. I should have this all bookmarked for you and like all professional, but this is really informal. Okay. So it's called the Riveline Shawl. This is the first one I did out of this book, the first pattern I taught, and it's got this really cool fringe. It's like linked chains. The fringe was what was really cool about this pattern. It has eyelets in it, and it looks really pretty, but it was a drag to make the model for the class. I was like, it took me 2 weeks to make the model for this class, and because I forgot that I hate scarves. I have like pregnancy mind when it comes to scarves. Like, I always go like, oh, you know, I'm gonna make this, you know, shawl that's a long rectangle and it's essentially a giant scarf, and I will love it because it's not, no, it's a scarf. It's just a giant scarf. But I made it through, and I taught the class, and it went by really well, and I got to keep the model, which is really cool, that I made for free. I used 3 skeins of Noro Tayo Sport, and the striping came out. Oh, it's so pretty. I'll show you guys next week. It's all the way downstairs. I forgot to grab it when I was coming up here. But my mom had commandeered it as a birthday present for her. She, like, literally yanked it out of the store and was like, oh, it's mine now, after the class was done. I'm like, Anyway, so I'll be teaching more classes out of this book at my LYS, and I'm excited because it's fun. It's a little bit of a extra bonus income for me, and it's something I feel like I could put on my crafting repertoire in the future if I ever get into the industry. So let me think. Let me just double check. I think that's all for the yarn right now. So I'm going to move on to the book review part of my podcast. So if you're just here for the yarn, I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. And now we're moving on to the book review. And the first one I'm going to do is the fiction one, which is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. This is one of my favorite all-time books. I love it so much. This is the 10th anniversary edition, and I read the regular edition while I was in Japan, and I loved it. I haven't read the 10th anniversary edition. I gave my other copy to a friend because I wanted them to read it, and it was like the $7.99 copy. And when I came back, my senior year of undergrad, I found out that Neil Gaiman was not only coming out with a new book, Ocean at the End of the Lane, that he was doing his last U.S. book tour with it. And I was like, no, I have to see him in real life, in person. And so I got tickets like the second it came on sale for the nearest place that I could see him. And I went and I had a bunch of his books that he could have had signed, but I wanted to make sure this one was kind of my favorite so far. So I got a nice edition. I haven't read the 10th anniversary author's preferred text, so it's a little different than the first publishing version of it. And I think it's like less editing from the publishers and more Neil Gaiman, so you can't go wrong with that. At least I don't feel like you can. I got this when I heard that he was going to do a book signing tour, and I was going to the book signing tour. And the reason why I love this book so much is because it is a story. It has elements of folklore, mythology, character development, kind of mystical realism almost. It has the Gaiman twist on the real world as we see it, and experience it. And it's about a man named Shadow who gets out of jail for robbing a bank and finds out that on his way home, his wife and best friend died together in a car crash, and it looks like she was cheating on him. So he spends 2 years in jail and comes home to find out there's nothing to come home to. And on the way home, on the plane flying back towards home, he meets this man named Mr. Wednesday. And Mr. Wednesday knows far too much about him because he's never met this man before. And Mr. Wednesday is interested in hiring him as a bodyguard. And you find out, spoiler alert I guess, that Mr. Wednesday is actually Odin, the Norse god Odin. And the whole story is about this brewing war between old gods and new gods. And by old gods I mean Thoth, the Egyptian pantheon. There's several Norse pantheon in here. There's mention of the voodoo law, the Irish mythology is in here as well, and the new gods of the modern era: the god of the internet, god of cars, god of the media. And the old gods are worried because mankind is no longer believing in them, and they're losing power. They're kind of fizzling, they're like fading away, and they don't want to do that, obviously. So they are trying to wage war against the new gods and hope that it'll prolong their existence. And meanwhile, Shadow he's a normal guy, and he's experiencing all this, and he's the bodyguard of Mr. Wednesday, who's trying to forge alliances between the old gods to battle these new gods in some sort of epic battle. And it's a slow burn. The climax is at the very end. And the falling action's pretty sudden. But if you're between little tidbits throughout the chapters are stories taken out of context. They're like stories of various gods and how they got to America, which is why it's called American Gods, because people, this is a country of immigrants. People brought their gods with them, whether they knew it or not. And, like, for example, they have the story of a slave girl who survived the Middle Passage, and she survived the Middle Passage because she prayed to to the spirits of her homeland, and that brings them with her. And it's about her story, her life. It's like, they're like little tidbits, like at the beginning of chapters about, there's one about this slave woman, there's one about an Irish immigrant woman bringing a leprechaun with her, a spirit of a leprechaun with her. There's the story of, and it's all from the perspective of Thoth, the Egyptian god of writing, I think, scholarship, the smart one, the one with the ibis head. He's kind of like making notes of these stories, like he's recording them, and it helps to break up some of the slower aspects of the story. But it's wonderful. It's a beautiful story, and it's haunting. And one of my favorite, besides the mythology and the folklore, is that the way that Neil Gaiman sees America in this story. America itself is a character. And the feeling, the ambiance of the story, it takes place mostly throughout the American Midwest. Like the long, lonely stretches of highway in the middle of our country. And he's so good at capturing the spirit of America. I know that sounds really cheesy and chintzy, but that's what really appeals to me about this book, and I hope you will also take it up and read it as well. This is also a signed copy. This is what I got signed, besides The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which, like, the ticket included a signed copy. But this one you could bring up one book to, like, have a more personal signing, like with your name and like just a little blurb or something. And what he did at the book tour was he read a few chapters out of The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which he does really well. He's an amazing storyteller. Like, he does a lot of his own audiobooks. Like, when his books are turned into audiobooks, he reads them. And he's British, so he has the nice accent. But he knows how to pace himself, which is, it's like an art. It's wonderful. I'm a real Neil Gaiman fan, if you can tell. So, and he also had open questions, like where the audience could write down some questions and he picks random ones to answer. And one of them was, why do you have angels in your stories? And I never realized until he read this question that there are a lot of angels in Neil Gaiman stories. There's some in Neverwhere. There are some in I'm drawing a blank. There's quite a few in his stories, and it's funny because he stood there and you could tell he was thinking, like, oh, I'm not sure. And then he said, angels are like cockroaches. They keep coming out of the woodwork for me. So, and everyone laughed. And it was just an interesting thing. And when I was thinking while I was in line, because I was way at the end of the line, it was like, there are hundreds of people at this event. And I was thinking, what can I ask him to write in my book so that I can kind of remember this experience? And so I got up to him and I asked him if he could write, angels are like cockroaches. And there's my name and his signature right here. And I had like a 10-second conversation with him. And I told him, I like gushed over how I'm glad that he caught America as a character. And he seemed kind of like not taken aback, but like glad that I said it. I don't know, maybe I'm imagining it and like imposing it on a memory, but I'm going to pretend like that happened. It happened that way. So I need to read this edition because I feel like it is longer and there is more content and I need to consume it. So maybe we can do like a read-along one day. So I'll stop gushing about this and move on to a nonfiction book review, which is going to be a book called Around the Bloc, My Life in Moscow, Beijing, and Havana, by Stephanie Griest. And I know I butchered her middle name. I'm sorry. And it looks like this. And it is an autobiographical book. I Stephanie was a guest professor at my school a few years ago, and I attended a lecture where she read some of her work, and I didn't have her as a professor per se, but she was there, and I read her book, and it's a story. It's about how in the early 1990s, as a post-grad, like just sort of entering the job market, she's a journalist, by the way, and she wanted to go and experience life in the communist bloc. So she goes to Moscow. She lives there for a year and a half, I think. Yeah, a year, at least a year. And she experiences life as an everyday Moscow person. And she interviews random people, and she has a boyfriend who has connections to the mafia. And it's all about the climate of the fall of the Soviet Union and what happens afterwards from the perspective of everyday, Russians. And she's very energetic, and it comes through in her text. She has a thirst for knowledge, and so that's the first part of the book. And then she also goes to Beijing for a year and works for the Chinese Daily, which is the state newspaper, the official newspaper of China. And she works as an editor there for the English edition. And she writes about her observations of people living in the communist society and working in a paper that is censored. And as a journalist, I really admire her ability to kind of like take it in. She wanted to see if how people fought the system that they were in, and the little battles that they fought, and the little victories against oppression. And like she writes she writes about minorities in China. It's just amazing, and so I really enjoyed that chapter because I took Chinese when I was in college. And the last bit is where she spent like a couple weeks in Havana, Cuba, and just about, communism, life in communism. And it's an easy read. She has a very good narrative voice. I read this in like a couple days, maybe at the most. And it's she also has another book, another autobiographical book called Mexican Enough that I also read, and that's more of her coming to terms with her Mexican heritage. She is, her parents are from Mexico, and she's from Corpus Christi, Texas, and like she talks about in that book how she spent her childhood trying to like deny her Mexican heritage because it was stigma, like it held her back in certain areas. And at the very end of this book, in the Havana section, she talks about how it's kind of inspiring to her being in Cuba, and she wanted to become more in tune with her Mexican roots. So that's where the next book takes off. And again, this is, if you like reading about everyday people's stories, definitely check her out. And she's also signed this book for me. This is like all my signed books. I have quite a few now. And she's a really nice woman, and she's very energetic, and she's quite the orator as well. And I suggest her books. I think she's also written like another book called 1,000 Places You Have to Go Before You Die or something like that. I haven't read it. But she, last thing I knew, she was working on a book about living at St. Lawrence in Canton, New York, where I went to school. So it was like, it was going to be about the North Country, which is where I'm from and where my family is from. And I look forward to hearing about that because I think she's going to write about the Mohawk tribe up there. She was also going to write about just small town Northern America, which is something I have, it's like kind of like my heritage, if I have a heritage. So I will be keeping my eye out for that. I should look that up. It's been a year and a half or so since then. So maybe she has like a manuscript or something. Well, I'll get back to you guys on that. So yeah, that's the book review part. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any suggestion for books that you've read that I'd like to review, or like books that you've been thinking about reading but you're not sure, let me know. Chances are I might have it. I have a lot of books. So yeah, that's the end of the book review section. A few personal note things. I mentioned last week that my dad had been recently diagnosed with a kind of lymphoma cancer, and today was his second treatment in the light box, and so he hasn't come home yet, but I'm hoping that he's okay and that it's a treatment he has to go every other day, 3 days a week for a year. And that's a long time, and he has to travel a lot for work, and he after these treatments, it's like intensive tanning almost. He has to wear those big cover like all over face what are they called, sunglasses like you get when you like have cataract surgery, because his eyes will be like really sensitive to light for the rest of the day. So hopefully, I'm just glad that there's a treatment option. I'm trying to look at it that way. He doesn't necessarily look at it that way, but I'm trying to like encourage him to be more positive, which is very difficult because he is a self-proclaimed not happy-go-lucky person. Like, he doesn't believe in all that hippie stuff of positive thinking. I'm like, what does it hurt? Fake it till you make it. That's what I have to do sometimes. So hopefully we'll see. Hopefully his bosses, he's pretty high up in his company. He does a lot of traveling for work, and this is going to be interesting to see how he can manage this, because again, 3 times a week for a year. That's not 3 times every other week, like every week. And gosh, I don't know. But I'm looking at it as, maybe this year of intensive therapy will be, enough to like nip it in the bud and send it into remission, and like after this year it may be something less intensive, less frequent, more manageable, less inconvenient for him. So yeah, so that's my personal bit right there. It's more about my dad than me, but I'm finishing up grad school applications. Really annoyed about that. I just want it to be done and over with, and like wake up one morning and just be in grad school and moving on with my life and feeling a sense of purpose again. Yeah, a little melodramatic there. Sorry about that. But I just want to be. I'm not ready for the real world. I need to go back to academia, where I know how to write papers, I know how to read books, I know how to like handle professors mostly. And that's, yeah, so, and the field work too. I really want to be I want to go and do anthropological field work and travel and go new places, because I've only ever been to Japan. I've been to Canada a few times, but the part of New York I'm from, Canada is like, you can see Canada across the river, like, just like wave to Canada. So Canada is the only time I would consider Canada a foreign country, is if I were to go to like Toronto or something, or like Western Canada, because it's like Ontario and Quebec is right in my backyard, pretty much where I'm from. But anyway, so I want to do anthropological field work that goes, takes me places in like Europe and Latin America, and I want to see the world, but also come back home and get cozy at night and like read. And I'm like torn between being an extreme homebody and a world traveler. Like, should be fun, but I'll worry about that when I get accepted into grad school. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that as well. And so that's my podcast, OhSheep episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you watch again next week. I have Wednesday and Thursday off next week as well, so I'll probably be recording on Thursday, because Wednesdays are sit knits. Yeah, I like doing that. So have a good week, guys. Again, my name is Shelby. On Ravelry, I am NoodleGirl88, one word. And on Instagram, I am LeongLon88, and that is spelled LIANGLAN88, one word. And yeah, so hit me up there, message me on Facebook, subscribe to me on Instagram. I mostly post pictures of cats and knitting and makeup-y stuff and occasional other random things. But yeah, so I will see you next week. Bye, guys.